Hey, y'all. Welcome to Love Speaks Volumes, the podcast where we dive deep, get real, and explore life's most impactful topics.
I'm Mika, a defense lawyer with over 20 years of experience. I'm a mom, a wife, a sister, and a friend. I've seen it all and I've fought through it all. And I'm here to share those experiences with you.
And I'm Louise, a certified marriage counselor and sex therapist. I'm a mother, wife, sister, and friend, here to cry with you and laugh with you through it all.
Together, we are the hosts of Love Speaks Volumes. Every episode, we'll talk about what it means to live life authentically, the struggles we face, and how we kick ass along the way.
We'll cover topics that matter, from relationships and family to personal growth and overcoming life's challenges.
So settle in and join the conversation.
Let's talk about it. Okay.
Hey.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
We're back at it again. Absolutely. Another episode of Love Speaks Volumes.
Yes. So y'all know we are doing this series of love over the decades, and we got another one for y'all.
Yes. Yes.
This is where we are talking to couples.
Yes.
About all kinds of relationship things.
Everything.
Do's and don'ts, wills and wants.
That's right. You might want to put your kids away because it's grown people talk.
Yeah, this is real grown folks stuff.
It's grown.
Yeah, it ain't for the kiddos.
It ain't wrong, but it's grown.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
We ready. We got another couple for y'all. We are glad that you all are joining us again as we go through this series. It's a love thing. It's a couple thing. It's a relationship thing. We have another couple with us. You know, y'all know we are doing this thing where we're talking to couples that new in this game, trying to get in this game, who have been in this game for a while.
Yes.
What I used to say is a long damn time.
Yes.
We have a couple today who's been in it a long damn time.
Long time, y'all.
Let them introduce themselves and tell you who they are.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Danyeal Morrison. I am the wife of Montez Morrison, happily married, 21 years.
Woo! 20 club, the 20 and over club.
Yes. That is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm Montez Morrison. I am the husband of this beautiful young lady over here.
That's what I'm saying. Starting
That's
off.
how they got the 21.
Yeah.
That's how they got the 21. Stuff like that.
We've been married for 21 years.
Woo!
21 years. Wow. How long did y'all date before y'all got together? Or you got married, sorry.
I want to say it was probably around 5 years. I think we dated for like 2.5 years. Got engaged.
We got engaged.
And then got married.
Okay.
I would say that.
5 years total.
So what is the most interesting thing you would say about married life versus when you were dating or when you were single? What do you think has shocked you the most about being married?
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get
getting real.
I mean, that's not too bad of a question. I'm just trying to think.
We got to make them worse.
Us the most.
I think I can honestly say that some of the things that we did when we were dating change.
Okay.
When you get married.
Okay.
So some of the things that the courtship, it changes sometimes. So we were really like, he courted me. He did all the right things. And then some of those things slapped off after we got married. So I think that was a big shocker.
Now, we know you guys are parents and you have a teenager that you're raising. So would you say, Danyeal, that was I know you said the courtship kind of slacked off. Do you feel like it was a product of being married or product of parenthood? Because we know when you have children, that changes things too. That's part to the whole nother animal.
We were married 5 years before we had Dylan.
Okay.
So I would say I had that time with him before Dylan came. So that's a whole nother
What we consider
second episode.
I know that, right?
You would consider dinks.
Okay.
Know what a dink is?
Nope, I don't. What you gonna tell
Well,
me?
that come no kids.
Okay.
So
That might be a good idea. Y'all might need to pause for a second and tell us about that.
Right.
You're very close to that. Y'all are about to be empty nesters soon.
Yes. Right.
So.
Well, this is a good segue into a question I have for you guys. One thing that I noticed about myself being married for a while is you with the kids, they kind of take over your life, especially when you have kids that I know your baby is very active. Our children are very active. They kind of take over. And so you get into the routine of your focus is on the children and you're not so much as focused on the coupleship or the marriage or being a couple. And so I feel like when you do that, you're focused on the kids, but then at some point those kids move out and you become empty nesters, but then you get left with an empty marriage because you won't focus on that marriage for a long time. What do you guys do? You've been in it 21 years, so you figured out some shit. We didn't figure out some stuff. So yeah, I know that's right. That's why we exactly. So how did you figure out how to maintain your coupleship and not just be focused on raising a son? We know that's important, but it's also important to maintain you.
We're learning
as a couple.
We're learning that now.
And I think that's a great honest answer.
Because in the beginning, we didn't know how to do that. It was all about Dylan. I'd say she's helped me realize that we got 2 years left. And so instead of waiting till later to learn each other again, we're learning to do that now. And so she requires big nights and trips and making sure we get our time together as husband and wife versus always putting Dylan first. But it wasn't always like that.
Absolutely.
What made you listen to her? Because I'm sure she brought that to you. And how did you get him to listen? And change that in your relationship?
I think so. We had a lot of transitions within our marriage. So when we had Dylan, we actually relocated here.
Oh, wow.
So we went from our lifestyle in Michigan. We had a kid, sold our house, relocated here, and then we went down to one income because I stayed at home with Deal.
Wow.
So that was a lot of things that changed in our relationship. So it went from him being the sole provider, me being at home with Dylan, and automatically I'm a mom now. I didn't have my career at that point. So once Dylan got back in school, I think that was where we realized that we were great at being parents, but we were starting to lose each other.
Wow.
You always say 2 ships passing didn't win.
We were. I tell them all the time, we're awesome parents, but sometimes we've lost sight of us. And that was probably one of the reasons, like I always said, well, let's bring it to the table. We do have let's table this conversation, or let's bring it where we can both see both sides. And I think we just hit such a rough patch because it was all new when we got here. Everything was new. We didn't have any family here. So to go from that and then to be losing each other too, it was it was a really dark space. And it was like, okay, what do we do to get back on track? Because I had that 5 years with him before Dylan. So that was important. And I tell him all the time, when Dylan leaves,
just gonna be me and you both.
It's
true.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes us do what we need to do, but when he's gone, what happens then?
Yeah, a lot of people know how to do the business of a family. Right? We can get everybody where they need to go. We can all make it to work on time. We can pay bills. We can do all of that. But that emotional connection that you're talking about, keeping that consistent over time can be very difficult. And that's usually the turning point. What you're talking about right now, what you guys are talking about, is usually the make or break moment in a lot of relationships. And you guys pulled on the other side of that.
I would agree, but it was hard work.
Yeah.
I tell them all the time, we had a very good marriage therapist. And I think it was a faux pas because I think back at home, I think I was like, I think we should probably go to marriage counseling just for check-ins. I tell them all the time. People tell you, read the books on how to get married, go to the pastor before you get married, you do all the things before you get married. Nobody teach you how to really
actually stay married. That's right. That's it.
Nobody said exactly. That 7-year itch hit. It's hard.
Right.
When you're going through all the things, or when you are going through menopause.
Right. Come on, menopause.
how to navigate that. And that's where I was like, I think we need a mediator.
Yeah.
We need someone to just talk to and to get us back to, as she said, you guys had a great foundation. You got to get back to that.
Right. So you had a taste of that. You had a taste of what it looked like to have the two of you together, just y'all, right?
Absolutely.
And so then, so what's funny about that is we were at an event together and I asked you about that. You guys shared what you did beforehand. So come on, let our people know, like, what did you do? What was that fun time like?
Oh, man. I mean, those are times when money was good. You know, growing up in the city, you know, we always talked about, that was one of the things too. Growing up in the city of Detroit, we get this term called keeping up with the Joneses. And so when you're making good money, you're in your career.
Joneses is in the country too.
They sure are, child. All the way in South Carolina.
But during that time, it was nothing to, well, fly and
Splurge.
Something.
For no reason.
go anywhere and eat whatever you want to eat, drink however you want to drink, no cooking. Like, no.
Bodies
no.
big old house built from the ground.
Wait a minute, hold. I think he's trying to give a dig, Danielle. I think he's listening. It was like, there was no cooking.
But listen, let's go back because you asked me about how he got me. Right? The cook in the cleaner.
So if there was no cooking, Montez, that means you stopped.
So that means you
She
stopped.
said the recording stopped, so that means if there is no cooking, the cook stopped cooking.
So the roles did reverse once Dylan came.
Okay.
Oh, that could be the follow-up question.
Okay.
Why?
I was about to say, was that voluntary on her part, or was that? Okay,
the
so-
roles did reverse. Once Dylan came.
Y'all see her head shaking, right? She like,
That was that.
If I could read her mind, she said, "Hell no."
right.
She said, "Hell no."
Like, hey, man, like, oh, you at home, you cook, clean, and take care of the kid and all the things.
I think they really underestimate how much it takes to take care of a child. People really do. You know, some of us take that 6 weeks, but that's the 6 weeks of hell.
Listen.
Because it's like, you're trying to learn how to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. A lot of people, I'm not going to say all men, but a lot of people really do feel like, okay, you're at home, mom, you can do it all, and you should have the time to do it all.
And you don't have nothing else to do.
Right. It takes a, oh, Lord Jesus.
And they want you to continue to do that when you go back to work, too.
And continue to cater to them and be there for them. And so we really do have to be super moms and superhuman beings, you know, as women.
And then freaks at night. So you got to have enough energy at night to really put it down.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Everybody be taken care of.
everybody taken care of, and you got to really have a lot of energy at the end of the night.
Right.
Look at her face. And he just looking away like, that might be a signal they have for, okay, change the subject.
So where are we now with the cooking? I know you used to be the cook, then it's transferred to her. Now she's the cook. Who the cook now? Who cooking? How is this baby eating?
We try to equal it out.
Okay.
Oh,
Danielle
no.
does not agree.
Oh, no.
He said try though. I will give him that. He said try, friend.
I want to
He
hear
just
what
said
she
we
say.
were equaling out.
Yeah, but I
I'ma
wanna
give you
hear what
that.
she say.
He said try.
Yeah, but I want to hear
Are
what
you
she
trying
say.
hard?
Well, I mean, worst case scenario, we're going to eat.
Right.
But you know, if I don't cook, I definitely go get something to eat.
Okay.
But yeah, we try to equal it out.
All right.
I say that.
I see words in her brain, but they're not coming out yet.
Exactly. I hope y'all can see that on the screen because she is really talking in her mind.
She's speaking something to us, people. You got to read that body language. What are you saying over there?
No, I think that I do the bulk of the cooking. And when I'm like, okay, well, I'm off duty or I'm not cooking, or I tell them, if I make sure that we eat throughout the week, I shouldn't have to cook on the weekend.
Absolute girl.
So
Say that
that's
again,
where I
'cause I
feel.
I cut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Except
with
for
you on that.
Sundays.
Well, Sundays I start back and
Sunday
see
you
dinner.
start
But
the week
right,
over.
that's the new start of the week for me. She always give me a hard time because I cook.
No, I don't.
I cook. I enjoy cooking. I just don't.
No, I don't give you a hard time.
No, I'm saying she's saying you cook all the time. You do this. You do. But I do. I do, but not on the weekends, not Friday and Saturdays.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't give her a hard time. This is the thing. I don't know that many people can do what this woman does. So let me just shout out Fran real quick. I know. But we are. But there's a lot of pressure, right? I don't know how she pulls it off. And maybe this is a good just conversation because you handle it very, very well. Like you work all day and then you come home and there's hot meals for your family every single day. Except for the weekends. I got it. I got it.
Trying to get your flowers.
I am. She does. We good.
And in addition to that, I wonder how many women, and maybe this is a good question for you guys, how many women feel that pressure to do that? Like she does it well. She loves to cook, all of that stuff. But you just brought up a good point. Like you're staying at home with the child all day. You know, and then you now transition into being a career woman. So you're a career woman. He's working. Everybody's working. Everybody got to go places. And then that pressure is to also keep the house, take care of everything, and continue to do all this stuff. And that could be a lot of pressure on people.
Absolutely.
And some people handle it well and some people don't. So how do you guys think y'all juggle that?
She hired a maid.
No, that's right. Yes, ma'am.
I ain't mad. I am not mad.
Hire you a wife.
I'm not mad at that at all.
Hire a wife. That's my friend calls it.
Mad.
A wife.
I am so
Don't be ashamed.
At all.
Good.
Me and my girlfriends, we did it. It was years ago. My one girlfriend threw her back out trying to clean the bottom back of the tub or something, and she was like, "We're not doing this no more." So that year for Mother's Day, I told him, "Here's what you're giving me for Mother's Day."
I know that's right. Yes,
but see, that helped you because most of the time, but no, he wasn't on board. So I was strategic. I did it while he was out of town. So the first time I had them to come and clean, he was out of town, and when he came home, he loved me.
We've had one ever since.
And you know what? That's a nugget.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes you need to outsource this stuff.
Right.
If you can't handle it by, you can handle it, but if you don't want to,
I don't want to.
Outsource.
So mine is a little bit different. I like kicking and screaming to get one.
Oh,
kicking and screaming because I'm meticulous with my cleaning.
Yes, you are.
I don't like. I was like, nobody's gonna be able to clean my house like I clean my house. And so he was like, no, you need to take some of this off of you and just hire. He had been out to me, I know, a good 10 years to hire somebody. And I was like, no, because I'm very, you probably gonna use this rag or this, that rag for that, and I'm over top of things. And he was just like, he was not feeling it. He wasn't feeling me always doing the everything, the cooking, the cleaning, but I went kicking and screaming to do it. Kicking and screaming. So I do agree. Outsource if you can. Outsource if you can. Because it does take that.
Everything if needed.
What other things do you outsource to just make your life work?
Right. Whatever makes your life better.
He said everything. So what?
Not everything.
We can't outsource the sex.
Not everything.
Hold get your blow up, dog.
Pause. Look, he looking real embarrassed right now.
So that's why we do townhouse and condo living.
Okay.
Right? Because ultimately we don't like to do that manual work.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I said that. Because when we were back home, we had a house built, but it was a condo. And so being from Michigan, obviously, I ain't shoveling no snow. I ain't raking no leaves. I ain't cutting no grass. I grew up doing that. So that's why we chose to have that type of living. Because we're not doing that manual work. And so when she did outsource the cleaning, we're not messy people. We don't.
Right.
She'll tell you.
Just take a load off of you.
She'll say, I got OCD. So for her to do that, I was just like, well, if that's going to make you happy, it's going to make it easier, go for it.
Yeah, that freed up time for you all. You know what I'm saying? To spend together. At least.
For sure.
Or at least you not to be tired when you are, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. I don't have a problem with it.
Not at all.
So I will ask you this, because we had a couple in prior to, again, this is, love over the decades. And so we're interviewing clients. We're interviewing not clients.
That's okay.
My other career. We're interviewing couples, who have newlyweds in this, who have been in this, maybe 10 years. You guys are in the 20 and up club. So, but one thing, so we're kind of passing the baton along. And their question was, what did they have? I think it was, what did they have to look forward to, or what pitfalls do you feel like will be on the horizon that they should look out for in a marriage? So they were married 11 years. So you're almost double there. So they're like, okay, what is out there that I need to be mindful about, the good times and the bad?
Good.
I think it depends. Are these young couples? Are these couples with children? I think that plays a part.
So this particular couple, I know they're about your age, around your age as well, because he said he was 50. Okay. And so I think she's a little bit younger than him, but still maybe, not too far off. Yeah. And they have young children. They have a 9-year-old and an 18-month-old. Oh. So, yes. So they're in the thick of it as far as parenting go right now.
Right. That's right.
But what they were more concerned about is maintaining the coupleship. They did ask about parenting, but their question as far as passing the baton along, they was like, because I said, what would you like to know from a couple that's been in it much longer? And they was like, I would want to know, what's on the horizon? What am I to look forward to in this relationship, or what am I to consider as, a pitfall, or that I should be mindful, don't fall into that pitfall.
Right.
I think for me, I read an article, this was a couple of years ago, and it all just clicked. And it was the 7 husbands I was for my wife, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it was all about the transitions. Mm-hmm. So I look back to the man I married. Mm-hmm. He's not the same man that I needed to show up when we had our kid. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then he's not the same man that I needed to show up when we relocated here. Mm-hmm. And then he's not the same husband that I needed when I'm going through my menopause.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we transition, and we have it in our mind the type of mate that we're going to fall in love with and stay, but they will change. Mm-hmm. And you got to acknowledge that. The person that you need right now, that 27-year-old that I married, I think we're around that age. I don't need him now at 50.
Right.
I need my new man. Right. My new man. Right. And when Dylan leaves, it's going to be another transition. So I think they need to realize that, as far as making sure that they can keep them together, because tiny tots will consume you. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So finding time, reach out. I say it all the time. My mom couldn't have made it without her village. Mm-hmm. Your community. Mm-hmm. My community, the stay-at-home moms in my neighborhood, when I went back to work, loved them. They were the ones making sure Dylan got off the bus. Mm-hmm. So making sure that you have someone to keep the 9-year-old and the 18-month-old, so you can have those date nights. Mm-hmm. I even didn't want Dylan to go anywhere. Date night in the box. Ooh. Subscribe to that. It's actually, I don't even know, it's so long ago, but I don't even know.
They still have that. They do.
So it's date night in the box, and you actually go online and you figure out what type of date you want, and they put the things together for you in the box and ship it to you. You pay for it and ship it to you.
Y'all heard that? So just plug for date night in the box.
Exactly. Strategic in how to make sure that you're reconnecting, because you're going to have those highs and lows in a relationship. Those are the pitfalls, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that too. Anything you
don't need to add something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think at this stage in our marriage, one thing I think stand out the most is we never lost each other's identity. Mm. And I think that continues to build our relationship together, because I encourage her to do her. Mm-hmm. Like, be with your girlfriends, go travel with your mama, do whatever you need to do to get that me time. And she, same thing here, encourages me to do the same thing. And I think that allows us to even come together even more as a couple, right? Because we're able to let our hair down. Yeah. Ain't got to worry about the kid. Ain't got to worry about the wife. Ain't got to worry about who cooking. or is the house clean? So I think that too is you lose your own identity within a relationship. And we'll continue to do that. And I think that strengthened us as a couple because now we look forward to, well, what we gonna do or where we want to live, because ideally we want to relocate to the beach.
Okay.
We would love to live on the beach.
You want to put your toes in some sand.
I want to wake up every morning like, woo, But, what's plan B, plan C, plan D, right? But ideally, I think that is what I got to look forward to.
Good deal.
Yeah.
What do you guys think you learned from your parents growing up in terms of how to make marriage work?
You talking about two different spectrums.
Yeah.
Good. That's exactly.
A lot of people are coming from two different.
That's very true.
Two different.
Because she grew up in a...
I grew up with a single mom. So I remember when my dad left. And so I grew up to be independent, take care of home, take care of your family, and I didn't have a lot of role models that I can look at as far as marriage was concerned.
Okay.
So I knew I wanted companionship. I never foresaw children. That I just didn't only because I saw how hard my mom worked to take care of me and my brother as a single mom. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to make my money. I'm going to have companionship. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to do all the things. And that's it. So that's how I grew up. And he's from the opposite spectrum.
Yeah. Like I come from my grandparents on both sides were over 50 plus years married.
Okay.
Parents 32 years married. So I come from that old school. Whether we sleep in a separate bedroom, ain't nobody come in.
Ain't nobody leaving nobody, huh?
Water,
Yeah, you locked in.
Locked in. So you gonna bury me? I'm gonna bury you.
Get mad at you want, you better go down that hall, but ain't nobody leaving out that door, huh?
So two sides of the spectrum.
Well, okay, so you say that, I get it. So how do you mesh the two?
Yes.
Because here's the thing. Even though you may have seen the example of having people who had long-lasting relationships, doesn't mean those relationships were healthy relationships, especially if they're sleeping separate. So in that regard, you're kind of similar, but so how do you jive the two? So when you get together, you have your example of what marriage looks like. Marriage for you is nobody has an out unless it's in a grave somewhere. For you, it's different. Like, hey, I can do this on my own. I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you.
Real quick.
So how do you jive the two to come up with a paradigm that represents a good marriage for you both?
Well,
I know it's trial and error because you said you've been through some shit, right? Everybody that's been in this game a while, I don't know nobody that ain't been through some shit. I get it.
Name it, we've been through it. So that's what I would say. Check. Check.
So I would say during our counseling time, we learn love languages. Which I was totally unaware about what a love language was. And I think once we identify each other's love language and really stop putting what we say.
She said Band-Aids.
Band-Aids.
We was putting a bandage on it.
On everything.
Let's put a Band-Aid on it.
Rather than dealing with it and letting it heal.
And basically that really helped us, one, open up the communication.
That's key.
Not going to bed mad with things on our heart. And I think my wife being as spiritual as she is, she's like, she holds the family down with her faith. Even sometimes when I lose faith, or I'm not as, or I'm not as in my spiritual mode as I should be, has really held us down. And that's just from my perspective.
Did you see that in your family? Like, where?
So you have to understand, I grew up different in religion.
Okay.
I grew up Catholic.
We're two
Okay.
spectrums.
So we're two spectrums.
Okay. That's interesting. thing. That's gonna be because we're gonna have some listeners, and we do have some listeners who come from two totally different faiths.
That's right.
And so, especially when you're trying to raise a family, or you're trying to jail a family, you're trying to raise kids. It's like, how do we work that out?
Right.
Where do we find that middle ground? How do we? So let us know, because they want to know.
They do.
Because you got some who's struggling right now. They love each other, but it's like, I'm not going to the mosque, and I'm not going to the the temple. I'm not going to your Baptist church. I'm not going to the Holiness Church over there. I don't want to do that. And so how do you gel that?
I think for me, because I grew up in my same church since I was a little girl, I was in that church. Dylan was christened in that church. I knew it was a non-negotiable about converting or anything. And I think for Montez, he grew up Catholic. So he went to Catholic schools. They go to mass. They do all the things. However, I think he lost a little bit of sight, which a lot of college kids do. I didn't, because I was in school in the South. That it was like, okay, he still did all the things, but he wasn't going as much as I would go, like on a regular basis. So the compromise, and it's funny because when we were getting married and we went to counseling, the pastor told us, I will marry you guys today. The only issue I foresee is what's going to happen when you have a child. He said that. He was like, that's the only issue I foresee. And that's something you guys will have to deal with. So I was a firm believer growing up that when you were ready, you go up and say that you want to give your life to Christ. So when Dylan was born, he was like, about his Catholic church, and I'm like, okay, but they wouldn't christen Dylan. They didn't want to partake in anything because I wasn't Catholic. So I said, okay, here's our happy medium. We'll go to my church, and then we'll go to your church. And that's what we did back at home. When we relocated here, I said, I will find you a Catholic church, but I'm not going to force you to get up to go to a Catholic church. Now, you go, you don't, you don't. So that's our happy medium. And then when Dylan became of age, I think he probably was in the 1st or 2nd grade is when he walked up on his own.
Oh my gosh.
And probably first or 2nd. So he got baptized in Baptist church.
And we're not saying one is better than the other. Your religious walk is your religious walk, and we just letting our viewers know.
So, but that's how we handled it. When we got chose when we were going to get married, we knew that it was going to be a big mess with how his family saw things and how my family saw things. So we went to Jamaica.
That
sounds like Martin and Gina.
Yeah, that's what we did. So
we had 43 people go with us.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
We had a big luau with like 150 people when we got back.
Wow,
showed the video and had a good time.
That is awesome.
It is absolutely
really good. I think that it's key that you guys sat down, you talked about it, and you came to some compromise on how you were going to deal with it going forward. Like, it wasn't like, we got to fight. No, you need to come to my church. No, you need to be Catholic. No, you need to convert. But actually sitting down and saying, you know what, I'm going to honor you and how you grew up, and I'm going to honor you and how you grew up, and we'll figure out the kid. But we're gonna do this thing together. And that's amazing. I think a lot of people don't know how to do that, right? And that's a great example.
I think it goes back to what you said. You don't have to lose yourself.
That's right.
He know how I am about church, my faith, devotion, prayer, all the things.
Absolutely.
So I would not give up. It was a stretch for me not to work with Dylan. That was a big stretch. So, but yeah, and I don't want to take away from how he grew up. So,
how do you guys think that you learned again from your parents how to again make this work? So I know single mom, sounds like she was really hardworking, sounds like she was a provider, sounds like you have had a long history of commitment in relationships there. Have you grabbed some nuggets from your parents to learn how to make this work?
I'm gonna simplify. I'll simplify that. What? So, like for me, from my parents,
he said not much.
I'm gonna simplify the question. I'll simplify the question. So, like for me, my parents have been married 50 years. Okay, 50 years, and this year in February. So, but what I took from their marriage, of course, they've been together all this time. I've seen everything, but there were takeaways. There was things that I said, I'm never going to do in my marriage that they did. And there was, so that's why I said, let me simplify the question. Yeah. And then there was things that I said, okay, I like the way that worked in my family, but seeing my parents. But there was definitely things that I said, yeah. Hell no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So simplify that question. Right. So answer that question.
Yeah, because that's really what I mean, the good and the bad. Because we have to take from our own experience. And even if we say we don't, we really do. Right. Because that was the model we saw before us.
Yeah, and I would say some of the bad, I'm starting to inherit it, and I have to catch myself. Mm-hmm. Right? My father he'd go to work, pay the bills, provide the food, go to work, pay the bills, provide food, and as I've gotten
but no quality time, no I love you, no hugs, no love language, let's go fishing together, son, that kind of thing.
And so she does a great,
or baby, let's go on a date.
So she does a caveman. She does a great job of reiterating like. You're starting to act like your dad.
And I'm not her.
And I'm
not her. Right, I'm not her.
And I'm like, okay, well, you're kind of right. Because I can see a pattern, right? Especially when COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
I got very comfortable with being remote, being at home, being in front of the TV, not going.
Daniel, bring me that beer. Yeah. Daniel, give me that remote. Yeah. Daniel, come rub my feet.
And so she's like, you're starting to be like your dad. And so, you just have to catch myself.
I think for him, though, what he doesn't realize, and this was something that we really had to be honest about in the conversations, he did take that away from his family. Like, his mom didn't work.
Right.
His dad provided. His grandfather worked, and his grandmother, like, they were close-knit. The mom was here, the grandparents are here, they got this house, like, they all live on the same block. However, it's the idea of the expectations for me, because I tell them all the time, like, I was already in my career when we started dating. So I was already independent. I had my degrees. I saw where I was going, and it wasn't just to like have my degrees and have these student loans and then be sitting at home with a kid, not working. So in that respect. And then I also told him, I said, well, if your mom, she didn't work, as you mentioned earlier, if you're not working, then you can have time to do all the things. But when you're working full time and taking care of household and the kid, that's a lot. And sometimes in the beginning, I was like, do you not acknowledge like what I'm bringing to the table? Right. It's not like I had things in place before you and before this kid. And so just acknowledge that. And I think that that's the part where he see his family. And I told him all the time, your family had years, but sometimes I know that they didn't have what we have. Like that love, that consistency, that communicating and things of that nature. They had years. They were like stuck like Chuck. You're not going nowhere. Right. I'm not going nowhere. And they raised their kids to be successful, and that's awesome. But I don't think we dated all those years. I never remember his dad taking his mom out on a date, or his grandparents going out on a date, or doing those things. Like there were many occasions where his dad didn't even come over to the house next door for the holiday. He would be at home in his chair, calling somebody to come bring him a plate. And that's what I tell him all the time, like, you're not Stanley. Let's check that at the door. Because
I'm not her.
Well, that even says something that you bring to it from your own experience as well, is because you grew up as a very independent person, and that kind of gives you a voice. So some people may grow up in the situation with your parents, and not that it's bad, but maybe they don't have as much of a voice. But you did have a voice, and you were able to say that. And the other thing, this is a compliment to you guys' marriage, is you were also very self-aware to be able to accept what your wife was giving you in that moment too, and say, oh yeah, maybe I am kind of being like my dad, instead of being like, no, I'm not, you know.
Oh, but again, we've had this.
Yeah.
Of course.
We're always like that.
It took a minute.
I feel like we're all like that.
But you got there. So applause for that, because you got there.
But that's part of growing.
Yes.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
Because, like she said, I'm not the same man I was. I'm not the same man I was a year ago,
Right.
let alone 15, 20 years ago, right? And I'm not the same man I was last month. We evolve, we change. Sometimes we digress instead of progress, right? And so,
But that's why you have the other part that remind you,
Yeah, so
raise it
I
up.
always like that,
But you have to be willing to get to a place where somebody, you listen, and that person says, you know what, that's enough. I got to draw a line. I got to say something. And yes, I said it 20 times, but I'm going to say it the 21st time, and hopefully he gets it.
And that comes with time. Like you mentioned about the early on, the people that's just getting started, or the 11. Montez and I are fire.
Yeah.
That we would go like,
I could see that.
we are fire and fire. He's not going to back down. I'm not going to back down. And that's why we're like, okay, we're going to table it. Or like he told me the other day, he said, I'm just asking you a question. I didn't understand your text. I'm just asking you a question, because I was like,
he was like, hold on.
He was like, I'm just asking you a question. Maybe you help me to understand. Because, and again, in the beginning, we were like that. We were like, we didn't know. Because again, nobody teach you how to navigate this marriage, how to navigate living with another person. Because again, we did have a great foundation. He wooed me. I mean, I can tell you all the things that I felt. I still got love letters. Remember you sent me flowers for a year.
Isn't that precious?
Remember all these things? Like, you get back to that. Some of the things.
What it took to get her is what it's gonna take to keep her.
So Montez, you're gonna go find them letters and rewrite them in today's language.
Write some new letters, because she don't want that 27-year-old. She need the man she need right now. She don't need him.
Just make a copy and sign your name with today's date. That's so sweet.
Absolutely. So here's my last one. I don't know if you have, but here's my last question before we get to something else. And I think this is a good segue, because we kind of been really talking about those things, but somebody out there needs to know how to conflict resolution. They need to know, how do we sit down? Because like you said, we were both fire. And so we can tell with fire, because you're individuals, but you have gotten to a point where you have learned, even if it's Montez say, okay, we're going to table this. So you have gotten to the point where you figured out, listen, these two fires is only going to make a bigger fire. So we got to figure out how to resolve some things, the conflicts, whatever conflicts we have, we got to figure it out, because you wouldn't get to 21 years unless you have.
Her name is Miss Antoinette.
Your therapist? Absolutely.
Okay.
Hey.
I think for me, she gave us a lot of tools and techniques, and then she put us out. Because I was like, we can keep checking in, we can keep going.
But a good therapist doesn't let you just stay there forever, because that the whole process is to get you where you can be stable and you can maintain on your own. If they are having you there now, my friend is a therapist, so she can tell me if I'm saying something wrong. But if she has you there forever and ever and a day, she just collecting a paycheck.
Right.
And I will tell you, that is the truth. The greatest compliment for a therapist, and I don't know if all therapists believe this, I'm not here to just collect your money. I'm here to see change. And so if you're coming to see me, for me to just go, and I'm just going to keep you on my couch, I'm not effective. And I want to see you fire me. So I want you to get to a place where you don't need me anymore. You come back later when something else is going on. Absolutely. So the greatest compliment is y'all figured it out. We worked through it. You got the tools you need. And now you can go forth and you're launching out of the nest. I don't want to keep you forever.
Yeah. And I think for me, because there were times where I don't think Dylan ever saw us argue
Mm-hmm.
or have a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we would table it. We would wait till he spent sleep for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd go downstairs.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, we go to another room.
Downstairs and whatnot. But it was okay learning how to, okay, if you're talking, then I have to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I don't want to. Because I got to listen.
Right.
And then process it. So I'm not going to listen at what he's saying and then jump right in.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stop and I'm going to process it. And then ask, okay, so if it's okay if I can talk now.
Yeah.
And for me, I shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I be like, okay, and just shut down. I shut down for days.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't.
Been
Been
there.
I don't do that as often as I used to. Now it's more she can feel it, or that you shutting down. And I'm like, well, let's just talk about it later, and then I'm able to get it off my chest. So, but it would prior to that, I'll just like,
I'm good. You go over there.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh, so you gotta go nowhere. I'm out. I'll see you. I'll be back.
So Montez, let me ask you a question. Whenever you do shut down, what is happening internally for you?
Oh, that thing's bubbling.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because and we kind of talked about the 4 horsemen one time before, but what happens a lot of times, and this is very much so more of a man thing than it is a female thing, even though I know Mika just said, yep, I was doing that before too.
Not the shutting down.
Oh, not the shutting down. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I talked to you.
Not the not talking.
Gotcha.
But the I don't need to do you. Yeah.
Right.
I don't even need to see you talk to you. I can not talk to you for weeks.
Right.
That ain't healthy. I get that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying I've been there. I don't need to talk to you for weeks. 4. I was like, for 4 weeks, I have nothing to say to you. You understand? That ain't cool. So that's why I said I've been there on there.
So,
but I've already said what I had to say before I shut it down and
this thing right here, let me tell you.
My bad. Don't do that, y'all.
That's exactly what I'm bringing up. That's what a lot of people call stonewalling. And so on the outside, you look as cool as a cucumber. I'm just walking away, or I'm just gonna see her and go, And the reason why I asked you what was going on in the inside of you is because that's the part the outside world doesn't see. It's bubbling, right? There's a lot going on. There's a lot you want to say. But at that moment, you probably are going to explode like a volcano. So the best thing for you to do is to walk away, right? You do. And so I just want to encourage people who are out there to get to that place where you can say, okay, actually the couple yesterday said this too. They said, whenever you get to that point, sometimes you got to table it for a second. Maybe you do need to go away for a little bit, but there's an appointed time that you come back and you have that conversation. It sounds like you guys have mastered that, and it's wonderful. And a good thing about it is that you also realize oh yeah, I do shut down. Again, self-awareness. That's one of our buzzwords on this podcast is being aware of how you show up. And so there it is. Y'all heard it. He just said it. He's like, yep, I shut down. I own it. And I know she can call me out on it. I accept it and say, okay, let's figure this thing out. That's amazing.
Another thing I noticed was that he had an attentive partner.
Yes.
So she's known him enough to say, I see the signs.
Yes.
You're shutting down. And he received that from her to say, you're right.
That's
or
right.
You're acting like your daddy. He received that from her to say, you're right.
So she learned how to reach him.
Yeah.
Y'all heard that?
You want to stay together, learn.
You gotta learn how to talk.
This is a good segue.
Okay, let me hush.
Knowing our partners.
Okay,
here we go.
That's a pencil.
So there's some pencil and a paper beside the both of you. Yes. Come on. All right. It's fun. It is. But it's a married thing. It's a married thing.
You gotta go get all of the answers right.
No, you're not. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. It's 1 and 1. So the men were in first. Then the women took over yesterday, and now we got to keep it going, Danielle. Okay. So you got to maintain. No pressure at all. No pressure at all. You just got to maintain. All right, first question. Now, these questions are for you to. Well, the first one you both can answer, and you can see if your answers are correct. But most of the questions you're going to be answering for how you think he feels or what you think. So if I say to you, let's see. If I say, you have $5, what is he gonna do with his $5? You will be asking, right? You will be answering for him. So that's not one of the questions. That's not one of the questions. But I'm just giving you an example.
Save it.
Okay, first question. This is an easy one, maybe. Where was your first kiss?
I know that was it. I think.
Don't say it.
Don't say it. Just write it.
I'm totally thinking the same thing.
You got
remember? Well, first.
I remember the first time I saw him.
Well, let's do this then, because you need to have a right or wrong. Look! You can't look out. Where was your first date?
Oh, I just wrote.
Okay, all right, right
for
there.
number one.
Yeah, we're number one. Scratch the first one because you got to have a right or wrong. So to be able to get the points, you got to know.
Same spot.
Okay, so don't say where was your first date.
I can't remember the name of that place.
I don't know, but okay.
Don't be cheating.
All right, second page.
Okay.
Next page.
Okay.
Okay. What stresses him or her the most? So you're answering for Montez and your answer for Danyeal. Is it finances, work, or home life? What stresses him or her the most?
That's easy.
Finances, work, or home life? Which one stresses him or her the most?
Finances. What's the three?
Finances, work, or home life? Next page.
She was quick with her answer.
Now we've already talked about this, so you all better get this one right. We both better get this one right.
All right.
She said,
what is his or her love language?
Oh yeah.
So right, Danyeal.
It's been so long.
Right, Danyeal. Okay, well, right here. You supposed to know hers. You've been in this 21 years.
You don't know the name of it. That's what.
That's okay. Just describe it.
Here's the love languages: acts of service, receiving gifts, physical touch, words of affirmation, or quality time.
You could have stopped at words of affirmation.
Or quality time. Acts of services, receiving gifts, physical touch.
Read the last one again.
Words of affirmation or quality time. Those are the 5 love languages. You ready? What's the next one? What is his or her favorite way to unwind? Whatever it is. I even knew that, and I ain't married to
I just watched the pen move.
Favorite way to unwind.
He doesn't really have one.
He has to have one. He will combust. He will explode. What is his favorite way to unwind or just to relax?
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. The last one.
I don't got one more. All right.
You have $10,000, but you misspend it all in one day. What is the first thing that she's buying? What is the first thing that he's buying?
$10,000.
$10,000.
That's not enough.
It doesn't mean
Mika,
that you have to.
That's not enough.
It's not enough. It's not enough for them.
Go 50.
Well, even I'm saying you don't have to. It doesn't have to be spent on one thing. It could be spent on one thing. But you have $10,000. It's free money. Trust me, I'm gonna spend mine. So, what's the first thing you're gonna buy? What are you gonna buy? First thing. It doesn't have to be one thing. It could be multiple things, or it could be one thing. What is the first thing she's gonna buy?
I'm going off of. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna list some things. So I'm going off of like the space that he's in now.
Okay.
For whatever reason,
Okay, so
I call it a three. No, you don't have to. Don't take my thingy.
Not her thingy. Don't take her
don't
thingy.
take her thingy. Just one thing. The first thing.
Multiple.
The first
No,
thing.
I'm saying the first thing of the most. It could be multiple things. It could be one thing. Just one thing that he would. The first thing he's going to go buy with that money.
I think that kind of like stupid though. If you did do that.
Well, wait, he doesn't know. Don't tell him yet. Don't tell him yet. All right. You ready? Where?
I don't listen to.
Okay.
I don't have no more.
Where? That's it.
We're done.
We're going on.
Okay.
Where was your first date? I think that's what we changed it
Well, that
to.
was easy.
Okay, what is it?
It was in a bar. It's on the east side.
You both said
I
that.
put a
I can't think of
club
it.
in
I
Detroit.
can't think of the name.
I don't know.
Was it a bar or was it a club?
Well, it was like
Because they different.
Well, maybe not. It depends on what area you're from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was on the east side. After hours.
All right, give yourself a point. Give yourself a point.
Juke joint.
A little juke
Give
joint.
yourself a point.
Yeah, 'cause I
Okay.
prepared in there, that's right.
What stresses him the most, Daniel? What did you say?
Finances.
What did you say? I mean, what stresses you the most?
Finances.
Okay, what stresses you the most, Danielle?
Dylan.
Okay,
I put work.
okay. So you get a point because you guessed his correct.
No. How's word stressing me out?
This look just like the newlywed game. No.
Yeah. Next.
I got 3 points.
What is your love language, Montez?
Mine?
Yeah, what's your love language?
I
Huh?
got to be touched.
I
That
gotta
is
be.
so funny because there is not a man that we have interviewed.
Not yet.
It's not safe sex. It's his love.
I didn't say
Physical
that.
touch.
I just said-
Physical touch, but that's what that means. It gotta be tough. What did you put down?
I put, first of all, couldn't remember the name, so I said affection, then I put physical touch.
Okay, so what did
Wait,
you?
that's the point.
Okay, all right. So what is your love language, Danielle?
Words of affirmation.
Wow.
Good.
Well, I knew what it was.
Good deal. Okay. What is your favorite way to unwind, Montez?
My poker.
Poker. Playing poker. What did you put, Danielle?
Oh yeah, that too. But
What'd you put?
What she put? She laughing too hard.
What'd you put?
Oh my.
Most men
I
are.
put
Most men.
Smoke.
Okay.
that's
Most
the top
men
three.
are. She said that's the top three.
Look, she is fanning us. That is funny.
I thought you caught that when you. Oh, I know you like to do.
Well, she know you like to have sex too.
Here's the thing.
So
My thing is, if you say what is something that you like to do, I'm thinking that's something you do on a regular. He don't do it on a regular anymore. That was his thing where he would go Thursday night was poker night. I would have wrote that, but he doesn't do it anymore. So it's like somebody's 50th birthday party or somebody's going away and they have poker night. So it's not on a regular anymore.
So what is your favorite way to unwind, Danielle?
Wine.
He got you. So
Wow.
he showed me that. Put a point for you. All right, I think y'all tied right now. So this is the tiebreaker.
Oh.
Yeah, I think this is the last one. So
Yeah, why you can't do that?
how you get 4 points?
Did I get the at the bar?
Yeah, you got the bar.
Information?
Wine.
Wine.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't get word.
See, that's it. Okay. You have $10,000. You must spend it all in one day. What are you buying, Montez? What are you
What am
buying?
I buying?
Yeah, what are you gonna buy?
$10,000. I get this.
What's the first thing you gonna buy?
$10,000.
Yeah, you can spend it all at one time, or you can spend it. But what's the first thing you're gonna buy with this money?
I'm planning on buying some shoes.
What she put? Shoes. Okay, she get a point. What are you buying, Danielle?
We'll probably buy a bag.
I thought she was gonna say that.
Uh-huh.
What did
That
you
sounds
say,
like that.
Montez?
I said drinks for the pool.
He's just being funny. He's just being funny.
He just
So for everybody, you get a drink. You get a drink. You get a drink.
Everybody get a drink.
Everybody get a drink. She won.
I won.
I'm just
Yay.
for where you are now.
It's $10,000. She said, "What would I buy for $10,000?"
Yeah, but right away, you ain't gonna spend all that $10,000.
Maybe.
You spend $10,000 on the bed right now?
Yeah.
Good.
It's free money. So good to know. Free
So I
money.
won.
Yes. So women still reign. Well, listen, y'all. This has been fun. This has been fun. This has been fun.
Awesome.
We have been with our 20 and up club members.
Yes.
And we have had a ball. I hope y'all have learned some stuff.
Yes.
How to make your marriage at least get to the 20th
Yes.
year mark.
Yes.
No promises.
Well, you're going to always go through something to get
Yeah,
there.
that's
You know,
true.
to get, if you don't go through something, I don't even know how you made it. I don't even know how you do it.
For
You
sure.
probably ain't got a healthy marriage if you ain't been through something. That's the show, not true.
And you guys have dropped some really good nuggets for our
Absolutely.
listeners and watchers, just to how to pull through even the tough times.
Absolutely.
You've laughed together and awesome.
Because I know that he was very reluctant, but I'm in this season of big celebration, birthdays, so
Yes.
doing new things.
Mm-hmm.
And we were away at the beach and we met a gentleman, and he had been married for quite some time, but he was a new dad, and he was talking about marriage as well. I think my kids asked him a question. He was like, I know not to get in the middle of this. And so we talked about even the podcast just then, and I said, again, we have a testimony.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of things that we can talk about, we've been through,
Yeah.
and we've come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And no one did that for us.
Mhm.
So if we could
Help
give
somebody
a
else.
little bit of what we have
Yes.
for somebody else, that's a blessing.
Yeah,
And I
for
tell
sure.
them that all the time. We do have a testimony, and when you have a testimony, you should share it.
That's right.
Well, I can tell you, this is why we started the podcast.
Yep.
Because we was like, we want to help somebody at some place in time, at some
Mhm.
point in time, with something.
Yes.
So, we always talk about, relationships, our marriages, our friends, and what have you, even, parenting. And so we were like, listen, we ain't the only ones going through
Right.
whatever that
Yeah.
situation is with your child or with your husband or what have you. And so we was like, hey, we know there's other people out here that, need these
Yep.
nuggets.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So that was the whole reason why we started the podcast.
And we also know that there are couples out there who have nuggets,
Yes,
right? And you
absolutely.
guys are one of those couples. And I've seen you guys out and about, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they would be awesome. Y'all, I aggravated them really bad. I'm gonna tell you, I almost tied them up.
You guys joined us. We were
Yes,
honored to
it's
have
so
you.
good.
And we
So
might have
good.
you back. We might
Yes.
have you back on a different topic, on
Yeah.
a whole different topic. But we really appreciate you.
Yep.
Until
Next time, let's talk about it.
Awesome.